Is it okay to bribe or force my GF's 9M son to eat new foods? I'm not sure if this post belongs here, but IDK if there is a subreddit for guys dating single moms with kids. I know the title sounds bad, but please stick with me on this. So I'm a 29M and my girlfriend is a 31F. Recently, we have been having discussions about her 9M son's diet. Her son is an incredibly picky eater and lives off Eggo waffles, frozen pizzas, Lunchables, and raspberries. It's gotten to the point where if he goes over to someone else's house and their family isn't making one of those foods, he just doesn't eat and then gets into a mood because he gets hangry. Aside from that, we are both worried that he isn't getting any real nutritional value from his food and that it may affect his growth and health. In the past, my girlfriend has tried to sneak some pediatric vitamins or some kind of protein into his food, but he notices it doesn't taste exactly like it did before and refuses to eat it. Since he will be turning 10 in a few days, we decided that this is now an issue and we need to address it. We sat down the other night and had a long talk about it and we came up with 2 separate plans. Plan number 1. His new school offers a free meal plan that includes a free breakfast and free lunch. We looked into and it's not like the poor kid meal that we had growing up, but it's just a normal everyday breakfast and lunch. In the past, he would refuse to eat the food at the school because it wasn't one of the 4 foods he will actually eat, so my girlfriend would end up having to make him a lunch every day. We decided that we will make him breakfast before he goes to school and dinner when he comes home, but he will have to eat the lunch the school supplies because we won't be packing him a lunch anymore. We looked at this from every angle, and as long as he has food available to him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then it can't be considered child neglect. My girlfriend was afraid someone would say it was. At that point, it's up to him to decide whether or not he eats at school. Plan number 2. Our second plan was just straight-up bribery. He has been going on and on about how much he wants to play this one game on the Xbox. Before you say anything, the game is rated T, and we both looked into it to decide if it was appropriate or not, and we figured we could use that to our advantage. I love cooking homemade food because it keeps me feeling good and looking good, so I've become pretty talented in the kitchen. My girlfriend and I decided that we would offer him this offer. He would receive $5 per meal for eating 3 bites of a new food and 2 bites of whatever the side is, usually a vegetable. I plan on cooking food that wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a 10-year-old to eat, like chicken, pasta, beef, and so on. The game he wants in $30, so we figured he would need to try 7 new foods to get the $35 he needs for the game, $5 for tax. We both think that these plans can work, but we know that there is definitely going to be some resistance from him. He has an iron will. We plan on sitting him down in the next few days and explaining to him that this is what's going to happen, and that reason this is happening is because we are very concerned about him not getting the nutritional value he needs as a growing boy. I personally think that this is a solid plan, but I'm open to some advice. Has anyone else found the answer to expanding the menu for a picky 10-year-old? Please help. You're going to give him bad eating habits if you force him now. You can try making homemade versions of what he likes and see if that helps. But really, you might want to get him checked out. Extreme food pickiness is linked to several different things, and if he gets a diagnosis, you can get professional help in overcoming certain obstacles. I was similar as a kid, and let me just say denying him food is just going to make him skip lunch. I was very good at skipping meals. Sometimes I wouldn't eat the whole day. If it's really caused by some kind of texture or taste sensitivity or other mental block, going hungry is easy. My significant other was forced to eat certain foods during childhood, and now he has extremely irrational aversions to a lot of things. If it gets too distressing for him, even if he seems bratty or ridiculous, stop. Consult a family therapist to see what your next move should be. I think both of these plans risk giving him issues with food later in life. I'd strongly suggest that you consult a dietitian to see what the actual risks of his diet are and what can be done about it. I'd suggest giving him the meals he'll eat and adding another food item for him to try. That way, his menu will expand without him feeling that he's losing to you if he tries a new food, but he's also not going hungry. People are being very dramatic in this thread. I was the same as your son when I was a kid. Bribing me to eat worked. My little brother was also the same. Bribing him to eat worked. It's the strategy that my pediatrician suggested to my mom when my iron was really low because I wouldn't eat. She didn't do it, but my uncle did, and he was the only person who could get me to eat. As far as I know, there's no hard evidence that food bribery causes eating disorders. As long as you are clear and consistent, kids are clever. I think your bribery plan sounds great. Good luck. Has his mom taken him to or talked with his pediatrician? They can get your girlfriend a referral to a dietitian that could help come up with solutions on how to get him the missing nutrients. My son started expressing dislike for meat. Expect fish. I was worried about the lack of protein and certain vitamins and was informed that there's kids' protein shakes that had an assortment of vitamins and minerals. It helped immensely. My sister was a very stubborn picky eater. This will be a struggle for years. The way that my parents coaxed her into eating better was by treating the good food as a reward. Have a frozen pizza ready to go. He gets it as soon as he eats one vegetable. Then 2 vegetables. At some point limit the frozen pizza to half a pizza. He gets half a pizza after eating half a regular dinner. Treat his favorite foods like a dessert he gets after finishing his meal. You aren't cutting it out. His favorite foods are always there if he wants them. Wow, reading your story and these comments makes me very aware that I would not be a great parent because I would be testing how long that ironwool would last after a few days. Grimace. Don't bribe the kid with money, maybe try new healthy options and don't just have Eggos be the only food at home. Keep some apples, oranges, bananas, maybe look into some healthy options. If he's not eating well, that means you're providing bad food. I, 27 female, feel massively indebted to my husband, 29 male, that I feel incapable of repaying. I have been with my husband almost 11 years and almost married for 5. He is in no stretch of the word a literal perfect human being. I'm disabled, often unable to leave my home or take care of the house. Sometimes I can barely look after myself. He doesn't work to look after me, he makes me food, helps me to the loo. He will even do lovely optional things like help me with my hobbies, just sit in bed with me so I'm not alone on a bad day, or come home with my favorite drink from the cafe. I feel like he makes massive sacrifices to just be with me. He has no career, we don't have a lot of money. I feel like I make him be my servant instead of my husband. I'm in therapy and I hear all the "it's not your fault you're sick" stuff a lot, but my issue isn't really that. My issue is he is able to show me every day how much he loves me by helping me. I feel like I can't express how much I love him. Beyond just saying, "I love you," I feel trapped, like I'm unable to prove to him that I love him, not even because he looks after me but for being who he is. I feel like have no form of wordless expression to show him I love him too. I don't want the only getting he feels from me is appreciation. I want him to feel like I would do anything in my power for him, too. I just have no power. It feels unfair to him. I don't know how to make him feel as equally cherished. Our marriage feels so one-sided and I hate that I can't match his level of support and understanding. How do I show him that I love him, too? I'm working hard in therapy to get over the guilt and frustration of disability, but even if I stop feeling those feelings, I still want to be able to repay every bit of love he gives to me. I want him to feel that unconditional love that he shows me every day. Just saying, "I love you," doesn't feel like enough compared to him living his life essentially dedicated to me. I want him to feel special like he makes me feel. I just don't know how in my circumstance. TDLR. I'm quite disabled and my husband is a saint. I don't feel like I contribute anything nearly as much as he does towards our relationship. I feel bad because he deserves to feel the same level of love, but I am incapable of expressing it in a way that is as meaningful as him just making sure I'm okay. Hi, my mom is disabled and has been for most of my life. My dad and I have been helping her as she can't walk and can barely eat without help. My dad does the same stuff for my mom as your husband does for you. The biggest and best way my mom has shown her love to my father and I is that every day I walk in she asks how I am and how I'm doing and if she can do anything for us even though she is disabled. I can't remember a time where I looked tired or sad that my mom didn't ask if I was or if I wanted to talk. She tells me that every day along with an "I love you." And she does the same for my dad. It's a hard situation you're in. My dad and I are always aware and appreciate my mom's love with just how she talks to us, asks us about our days and self, and telling us she loves us. Thank you goes a long way. Do what small things you can. Be appreciative, be loving. Hold hands. Imagine the situation being reversed. How would want your disabled partner to show you their love, to show their appreciation for everything you do for them? Take a look at things he likes that you can perform. Little gestures throughout the day that shows it is really important for you to let him know. First, you inspire this kind of love in the man so you are doing something right. Second, write him a love letter. Put a good amount of effort into it and out your heart into it. It's inexpensive and physically easy, but the sentimental value it holds shines far above the rest. Explain why you love him so much. What about him makes you thankful you met him? Include how you met or the first time you knew you loved him. Stop looking at yourself as a nuisance. Maybe he lies in bed with you because it makes him happy. Sex and companionship is dope. I'm in a similar situation with my boyfriend. I've been hurt and taken advantage of and so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed, and though it all he has been there for me, first as a friend and now as a partner. I expressed to him that I would never be able to thank him enough for everything he's done for me. He looked me in the eye and told me that if I expected to be repaying him, then he'd done something wrong. Everything he did because he loves me, and that doesn't require repayment or evening the score. All he wants from me is for me to know that he's here for me and he wants me to be alright. If he has issues of his own eventually, I'll support him the way he supported me, and we'll continue to be there for each other as best we can. That's all either of us need to do. It's very clear from your writing how much you love your partner. As always, communication is the key. Tell him what you told us. Do the love languages quiz together. Acts of service may resonate strongly with you, but for him physical touch, words of affirmation or quality time are just as likely to be preferred. I suspect that his lying with you and spending time is a sign that he is already feeling very content with the type of love that you give him. Is my BF, 25 male, selfish, or am I, 22F, just high maintenance? Hi. I am 22, and my boyfriend, 25, have been together for a year and a half. In the beginning of our relationship he told me he does not really believe in conventional holidays and that cards, flowers were not necessary because they die or get thrown out. Which honestly 100% agree with. If you're going to get someone something it should be meaningful. In this time we have passed our birthdays and my graduation, also some job promotions, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day. I consider these to be milestones, holidays in which you celebrate. And for all of them I have bought him something. In all of these occasions he has shown up empty-handed for me. Mind you, I am not materialistic, so I am not expecting a Gucci bag but at least a handmade card or a teddy bear. Even from Walmart IDC, it's the though that counts. This has caused M to notice that he is very frugal in other areas as well. Like he will buy food for himself, which it's your money, do what you want. But it's the fact that he does not even offer. I think of things reciprocally, and I most definitely always ask the person one male with if they want something to be courteous, especially if it's my boyfriend, mother, etc. Examples. Out late night at a hotel or a party. Hell, leave by himself, get something to eat and come back. Won't offer me some unless I ask for a fry. Or when we're at a restaurant he never says that it's his treat. So we basically always end up mostly just going Dutch because I don't want to be the one always offering to pay. Mind you, it's not about the money spent, it's about the principle of asking, hey baby, I am going to. Do you want something? Maybe we're just different people because I personally wouldn't show up to his birthday or grad with no gift or even ask him if he wants me to get him something to eat. The reason why I am confused is because I am not wanting steak, caviar, fine wine, etc. It's just simple things that I would expect from my significant other. And before you say maybe he's broke. He works 5 days a week full-time job and then 5 days part-time evenings as well, doesn't have rent to pay, etc. So am I expecting too much, or is he just not considerate of me? Are you expecting too much? From him? Yes, BC, he's an asshole. Leave him. Cheapskate. There is a massive difference between being frugal and being cheap. He's mean with money and values it more than you. He doesn't care to try and told you so. You are not asking for much by any means. It's the thought that counts, and it seems to me like he isn't even trying. Some people are just like that. If it isn't a deal breaker for you, then that's good on your part. But what he's doing is far from considerate. Why are your standards so low? There's a difference between being practical, frugal, and being straight up inconsiderate. He's the latter. He is not thinking of you in ways that matter. You are not asking to be showered in gifts, just thought of, remembered. In any way he sees fit. He still doesn't step up. Including asking if you want something when he goes and grabs food. I believe in going Dutch early in a relationship, but regardless, if I'm getting food I also offer to pick something up. No way in hell I'd expect even a friend to sit there hunger and watch me eat. It sounds like he just doesn't care about putting in the effort. Take flowers for example. If you like flowers and he thinks they represent wasteful consumerism because they die after a few days, why wouldn't he buy potted flowers? I don't celebrate holidays at all. I ask people not to buy me gifts or cards etc, but if someone's does get me something, say for Christmas, after Christmas I'll always buy them a treat to say thank you. You're not being unreasonable, he's just a tight ass lol. My 23F best friend, 23F, has gone insane since I met someone. For context, we've always been extremely close to the point where we are frequently mistaken as a couple. We live together and spend most of our free time together too. She is bisexual but has always insisted she isn't attracted to me, and until very recently I have always thought I was asexual or something. About 2 months ago I met my now boyfriend. I don't know what came over me, but for the first time in my life I found someone else attractive and it was like I went feral. I spent the night with him and then the next 2 weeks after that too. He even bought me new clothes so I wouldn't have to go home. I texted my friend the first night so she knew I was okay, but I was busy so communication was a bit spotty after that. When I did eventually get home she lost it on me. She tried to frame it as concern at first, but when I said that I was in regular contact with her and that I'm an adult, she started attacking me instead and implied that my behavior was weird and unstable. We have literally never fought in any capacity before, so this came as a shock. I assumed she'd had a bad day and tried to let it go, but since then she hasn't stopped. She's been constantly taking jabs at me, taking jabs at my BF, doing things to annoy me intentionally, making up rules for me that are completely inappropriate. I have to spend twice as much time with her as I do with him. If I get pregnant I have to have an abortion. I can't spend nights or weekends at his. I can't move in with him for 2 years. I can't marry him for 5. She's making up bullshit reasons for why I owe her large amounts of money. She keeps waking me up when I'm sleeping to complain, etc. She's gone completely unhinged and I've been avoiding her by hiding at my BF's for now. She keeps sending me passive-aggressive texts about how I've abandoned her and is guilt-tripping me. All my stuff is still there so I can't avoid her forever. Just what the hell is happening? I'm assuming this isn't fixable, but I'm at a complete loss at what I should do. Help please. Wait, pause. You met a guy, spent the night with him that night, and then didn't go home for 2 weeks? And he bought you new clothes and everything. And now, what? He's your boyfriend of 2 months and you are essentially living there. Yeah, your friend sounds unhinged, but for God's sake, so do you. Slow the F down, or you could be going out of the frying pan and into the fire. Kind of sounds like she had a crush on you. I get the concern in the beginning. Spending 2 weeks with him and buying new clothes so you don't have to go home seems a bit weird and intense. Was it your BF's idea not to go home? The rules she gave you are ridiculous though, and her behavior is definitely out of line. I get both sides. You want to spend time with the man you're in love with, she feels abandoned. If she is your best friend, why don't you sit down and have a conversation about it? Even though the things she said are not okay, I wouldn't throw away your friendship over a guy you met 2 months ago. I hope you two can work it out. You both are insane, to be honest. Phew, she's hella toxic. Do you have a lease with her? And if so, can you speak to your landlord about how your home is no longer safe so you see a GTFO of there? Op, you sound insane. Any normal best friend would be worried for you if you disappear for 2 weeks when you haven't before. Come on. I think the rest is her panicking. But she'd overstepping and you're right to call her out. But please consider how odd and out of character it was for you to do this. You're just kind of blind to it because you're in honeymoon stage. You described yourself as going feral. After being asexual. It sounds like you live with your boyfriend and you just dumped her. You sound like a teenager who just got laid for the first time and ditched your boyfriend to go fuck for a couple of weeks. Someone buying you clothes is not the sign of a healthy relationship. It just means they have a credit card. It doesn't even mean they have lots of money. Your boyfriend sounds appropriately worried. The "don't get married for 5 years" equals slow the fuck down. You sound like the child here. Her behavior is unacceptable but sort of understandable. You were in a stable relationship and labeled aromantic and asexual, but still a relationship. Then suddenly you aren't. She probably feels betrayed and discarded, and sort of cheated upon, but has no healthy way to express it because you weren't in any capacity official. She is in emotional distress and therefore irrational. As for what to do, talk to her if it's possible. Explain your position and tell her that her aggression must end.